One of my followers sent me their scary story about the time that their best friend got possessed right in front of them. My follower's name is Finn, their friend's name is Steve. At the time, they're both in college together, and after classes one day, they go to hang out in a park. This takes place one night in November around like 8 p.m., so it was really dark outside. And for whatever reason, I guess they were feeling adventurous, they decided to do the Estes method, which is basically a method of ghost hunting in which you deprive yourself of your other senses in order to more accurately communicate with spirits. People will wear blindfolds, they'll put on noise-canceling headphones, and they'll listen to a spirit box. Now, they were broke college kids. They didn't have access to a spirit box, which makes this whole thing even weirder because all they used was white noise. So Steve is sitting there with his eyes closed and he has on these noise-canceling headphones and he can't hear anything Finn is saying. And Finn starts to ask questions like, how old are you? What's your name? But whatever this thing is responding with we or us when it answers these questions. So think like Finn asks, is anybody there? This thing responds through Steve, we are here. This is also definitely an activity that they've done before, and so Steve is really used to doing this, and he mimics the voices of whatever it is that he hears. And so what Finn is hearing is Steve mimicking this very childlike voice, and it's really creepy off the bat. There's no light outside, it's pitch black, so the only source of light that they really have is Finn's flashlight on their phone that they're using to like illuminate Steve during this entire session. Throughout, Finn is hearing these really weird noises in the park and they're getting really uncomfortable, but as they keep going, something really weird happens. Steve pauses for a moment and then again in this childlike voice asks Finn, can we use his hands? And Finn has never heard anything like this before. So they ask, why would you want to use Steve's hands? And they said, we want to clap. Finn was like, that's not my choice. You'll have to ask Steve if that's something that you can do. And apparently Steve said yes, because all of the sudden he raises his hands and starts clapping. Like clapping and clapping and clapping, all while making this really creepy giggling noise, which Finn says is terrifying, like they've never heard Steve giggle like this. So giggling and clapping and saying, we clap, we clap, we clap. Finn is like trying to keep calm, keeps asking these questions, when suddenly Steve rips the headphones off. And Finn is like, oh, thank God you're here. Like, you're not gonna believe what just happened. And Finn is giving Steve the rundown, but Steve is looking at them really strangely. Like his pupils looked weird. Something was just off about his face. And Steve is just staring at Finn like really blankly with this creepy smile on his face that just looked so unlike him. So Finn is explaining what just happened to Steve while Steve was under for the Estes method, and Steve is just looking at them with this creepy smile on his face, and he doesn't look like himself. And so Finn just kind of stops and is like, you don't look like you. Is everything okay? Like your face doesn't look like you. And Steve isn't saying anything, and Finn is gradually getting more and more freaked out when suddenly it's like Steve just snaps out of it. You know that feeling when you're falling right as you're about to fall asleep and you like grab onto the sides of your bed? It was almost like he had that experience. He suddenly like jolts upright and he's looking around and he's like, why am I sitting up? I don't remember doing that. And Finn is just looking at him like tears in their eyes, like, are you joking me right now? Like, please tell me you're playing a prank. And Steve has literally no idea what just happened. No memory of the last several minutes. Steve was obviously also really concerned. The two of them just book it out of there and head to the nearest street lamp where they're in the light before eventually heading home. And this isn't really something Steve would do as like a prank. They've done these Estes method sessions before. And Steve has never done anything like this. And Finn just ends off the email by saying, to this day, it's one of the paranormal experiences that freaks them out the most. And they can just remember exactly how Steve's face looked when he was just staring at them and giggling and clapping and smiling. I don't know, this one is really, really, really terrifying. So I'm curious to know what you guys think about it. Stay spooky, friends.